By design, it's automated communication transparency. We have the public listing of opportunities, so everyone can see what's available. Pre-qualified supplier process, visibility across whole of government, of course. And then once we've developed this and had it in the market, we can bring out success stories, celebrate them, and promote cultural buy-in, and drive best practice behaviour as part of cultural change. So just to quickly add, the open challenge propositions and ideation challenges are the two things that we're extending beyond what is currently envisaged for the digital marketplace. The rest, we see the potential to take essentially what is already being built, adding integration with the government DC for selling of cloud services, bringing in some of the user research capabilities also that the UK marketplaces has pioneered. So, with that.
All right, thanks, Andrew. So just in the challenges that were addressed before, we've tried to put in just the red dots how this solution addresses the problem. So the main thing is transparency, obviously, making sure that everything is publicly listed. It addresses hard to find the right vendor through everything being listed. There's more visibility across the agencies. Supplier diversity and the ability to also post. Fair marketplace in terms of contestability, so other agencies can see what each other are doing. So I'm trying to speed this up to make sure we're on time. Small agencies may not have IT procurement teams, so they can see what other agencies are calling out for, what other solutions vendors are providing, vendor awareness of what other agencies are looking for, things that they might not know about. Innovation focused on SMEs. This is where the open challenge proposition and ideation challenge really comes to light. So instead of just having a prefix business case with those are the parameters, you can't do anything else, this allows people to work, make a collaborative space, build upon that, and then level the playing field so that there is more visibility and transparency across the marketplace. So adherence to must-have principles. Again, we tried to work off what was discussed at the start of the day. So the main thing is ease of doing business. Through the conversations we've had, the agencies and the suppliers, making those relationships easier, making it more transparent across the board, engaging SMEs, again, providing that platform and that playing field for everyone to participate in. Leveraging what other people have built. So we're doing this in the sense of copying and building on the digital marketplace that's already been put in place in the UK, but also in terms of what it'll allow is when agencies post business cases or needs or anything like that, it's visible across so that if there is duplication of effort, they can combine forces, it reduces that overlap. And value for money, you know, isn't everyone trying to be more efficient, save time, save headaches, have better relationships? So practicality of implementation. We're leveraging the proven model based in the UK. One of the main things that we notice is the gradual levels of buy-in that this will allow. So a lot of the time the issue isn't necessarily technical, it's cultural. So people saying, no, we're fine, we've already got a solution, don't need to do it. So what we've tried to do is build different levels of buy-in so that they can still use their traditional RFX process as well as, once the success stories to come through, follow the leader in terms of what else has been done. So if there is a success story where an open challenge has been posted, a great outcome has happened, other agencies that might be a bit more reluctant and risk averse can follow the leader in that sense. So the end game, this is a sort of blue sky thinking bit, but imagine if all 160 agencies had all of their benchmarks, who their providers were, what they were spending on what, listed in a public forum, obviously with the commercial and confidence considerations. But so each one could see where the overlap is, how can it be better. Vendors and suppliers can say, we've got a solution for that, let's help you, we'll be better than the other guy. So making a little bit more of a competition in it. Interactive marketplace, look, it's more about collaboration than, you know, supplier versus vendor. It really should be a partnership. And then challenge opportunities, constantly allowing for innovation and improvement. Again, visibility and transparency breeds betterment, right? So if you can see what the other guy is doing, you can say, I can do that better. If you can do that better, everyone wins. So that's a very abbreviated presentation of what we've chatted about, and we'll move on to the final slide.
Okay, so the next steps, so we already have a model for the marketplace for a lot of the features that we've been talking about. So that's more of a porting exercise, porting and development exercise. So we're calling that beyond the ICT procurement challenge. The next steps for us to take into the next stage of the procurement challenge is the development of the open challenge proposition. So this solves the problem of I know who I want to work with and I'm going through this RFQ process because I have to. We solve that probative challenge by saying, yes, you can go with that person so long as so long as you open it up and allow somebody else who might be better to make their presence known. Also, the ideation options for the marketplace is currently actually something we are going down, but we want to take advantage of the procurement challenge to really explore that idea of how the marketplace can be used to solve those really fuzzy problems where you don't have a set of requirements, but you have a bit of an unknown and slightly less tangible challenge that you want to address. So you can put that out to market to see who can come up with the ideas that can address that. And maybe that's just the first step, and later on you will go back to the market with a much more solid set of requirements. So those are the two that we want to take into the next stages of the procurement challenge. And beyond that, yes, of course, we should be leveraging the marketplace the DTO is already building. Incorporate the suppliers that the New South Wales ICT procurement have already pre-qualified. Integrate with the GovDC marketplace and on, and there's a wealth of opportunity there, but that's of course a little bit beyond what we're going to cover in this challenge. And yeah, that's
9 seconds to go. That's pretty impressive.
Your bonus points are being on time.
Excellent.
So there's a couple of minutes for the judges to ask questions. So Shay or Catherine or Jeremy.
So what's the idea of the open challenge proposition?
Okay, so we know that both anecdotally and from research that a lot of buyers have somebody in mind. They just want to get, that person does the job well, I just want to hire them. But the probity requires that I go to an RFQ, I have to write out my requirements, I have to duplicate that 3 times over, I have to waste the other supplier's time because I know full well they're not going to want it. The suppliers, oh yeah, here's another one, I'm going to have to answer this, but I'm probably not going to get it because they probably have someone in mind. So the idea is that we take the incumbent, this is the person that's already doing the job, and that's their benchmark. So we now put a challenge proposition out to the marketplace, to everyone. Can you exceed this benchmark? Can you do better than the incumbent? And if nobody can, great, keep using that person. At least you tested the market. If somebody's coming in saying, well, I can do better on commercial terms, or I can do better in innovation terms, you're doing that, but maybe you should be doing this instead. Then you take them into evaluation and consider whether you actually want to take on this other supplier rather than your incumbent. That way you've tested the market, it's all fair, it's all transparent, and hopefully you'll get a much better deal. And in fact, you're about to talk about the incumbent bidding against themselves.
Well, another one is just in terms of the procurement teams that actual agencies have, and IT teams, sometimes they don't know the solution that they're trying to solve. So if you post an open challenge, say we have this problem, not necessarily this is what we need, it's just we have this problem. Put it into a space where it's open and visible, people can see the issue, come up with unique solutions, allow for innovation in the process of building the case itself, instead of going to market with a case with that prescribed solution needed.
And the other aspect of that is, I think one of the things that suppliers don't like about the RFX process is often they put a lot of effort into coming up with the ideation stage, but they're not successful. Whereas the ideation option is a more fair way in which they will actually be paid for that. So they'll be selected to do the ideation, and that'll actually be an engagement rather than a response to an RFX.
Another question then, what sort of information or data would you need from government to be able to progress with your next steps?
So that's something you don't necessarily need to answer right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's a question for everybody. We'll just repeat a few times because that's what we can do between now and the next round.
Yeah.
So we're assuming that it would be public for people to look at what's being published, but for any organisation to actually apply, they would need to be pre-qualified, because we're assuming that the pre-qualification scheme has merit. So we would certainly need to build it on top of the pre-qualified suppliers.
I think that the data for both of those, following our digital service standards, of course, is more around user research at this stage, because these are completely new ideas. So if we can get if there is base data, then yes, absolutely, we should be leveraging that, and we'll have to put some thought into what that data could be. But following process would be more a case of user research at this stage. Because these are new ideas, and test them out with both buyers and sellers to see the merits, and of course check for compliance to policy and so forth.
A concept that we toyed with as well. It's not inherently built into this solution, but we're hoping that it can be built upon in terms of what kind of data is collected. And we spoke with both yourself and Shay on this issue. Is knowing where the money goes. So there's the headline spend, right? You're spending $10 million on X, but if you went to a mechanic, this was the example we used, and you gave them $10,000, you would want to know what parts of the car they fixed, where that money was going to. So actually going down to a granular level in terms of the data that you collect, as the process, it'll come over time, obviously, as not a mandate, but as it's culturally adopted, thought that, okay, this is okay. These guys have reaped a great benefit because they've shared this data, maybe we will too over time. So that's something we haven't quite worked out, but working how the granularity of follow